Hi, this is Michael Humblet, and welcome to our webinar about enabling self-client service and lowering operational costs by having a web-based document scanning application. This webinar will take about 25 minutes. It's rather short. What we will do is show you some slides about how it would work and what the value is, and then we'll do a short demo to show you exactly how it would look like in real life. We have many requests over the last years on how to be able to scale very large decentralized scanning operations. So let me start with an example that gives you an idea how this would work. So the first question actually we get, one of the first ones, was a BPO in the Netherlands. And what they did was they did a lot of processing of medical claims for the second biggest or largest medical insurance company in the Netherlands. This company has about 4.1 million policyholders, and the BPO received 30,000 mainly claims consisting of forms or receipts and invoices from this medical insurance company. 65% of them were based on paper, and about 35% of them are in an electronic form. Now, the problem is not with the paper, because they have large scanning operations and they are used to dealing with the paper, but the biggest problem they had was with that electronic documents. So basically what these people need to do, what the end user need to do, is they have an issue, they go to the doctor, and they have to get their money back. So they have to claim their money back. What they do is they have to actually fill in the IBAN number. The IBAN number, in case if you don't know what that is a unique account number that makes that they can find your accountancy system and they can pay your bill, basically. So what happened traditionally was that people would scan at home. They would take the paper, they would put it into a scanning device, mostly one of those MFPs that they have bought in a shop. And if people have never scanned with such a device, they do two things. One thing is they either scan it in a very low resolution settings, where you basically get an image that you cannot read. The advantage is, of course, you have a very small file. The second thing they do is they do the opposite, which means they would scan 1,200 dpi, and you would get an image that is 60 megabyte. Very good resolution, very good to extract data, but really a disaster to receive. So the BPO started getting in these messy files, and they had big issues with their server in one end. On the other hand, they could not read the documents. And then the third thing that happened was a lot of people started taking pictures with their mobile phone, but they didn't do this always in the right angle. So basically you get a document that's just completely unreadable. And because of that, their processing costs would rise enormously. Not only their processing cost, it's the processing time, and actually they had to they actually started a call center where they would call people to ask their IBAN number. So they asked us, is there a solution to do this? If we then extend this to other traditional solutions, what we see is you have three big points that always come back. You have a technical, an operational, and a commercial. So let's have a look at the technical part. So basically what the end user wants is that they would actually like to be able to scan directly from the line of business or from their portal. So in this case, the insurance company, what they would like is that somebody goes to the insurance company, to the portal, logs in, has a button scan, scans in the document, gets a notification, everything's done, everything will be treated, and then the BPO would actually take care of the treatment, and they would treat the document and offer extra services. However, the people that would do that scanning would have never touched the scanner before. So what you have to do is you have to get an interface, you have to give a look, so that it's very easy for them to be able to do that the first time they ever do it. Second thing is the purely operational. You need to control the settings of those scanners, because otherwise you will get inconsistent formats, you will get inconsistent DPIs, large files, small files. So you really want to be able to control that. Also, if you have updates, you want to be able to update that with one flick of the button to the whole crowd. Thirdly, commercial. If I would get that question in a traditional manner, I would have a big issue, because a traditional license cost would be based on, you buy a license, I have an upfront estimation, how many people would use this, what would the volume be? But in this kind of cases, you have no idea. So this could scale from 20, 30 users to 4 million in the case of the medical insurance. So you need a license system to be able to cope with that. So how would that work? Well, we work together, let's say it rather like that, with a company called CumulusPro. And what they've done is they've developed a product called Scan and Process Lite, which is a browser-based, easy-to-use scan application that in a very easy way allows any user or even a business user to scan and to add metadata from any document on any device, meaning also any browser, and it actually means any scan device you have. So before I just talk further, let me show you how this would work in real life. So what you see here in the background is our internal DICOM team website. This is a portal based on Azure. This actually is Office 365. The reason we use this is that this is a live system, so you can see that we are not cheating and we're actually showing a live system. So what you here have is the front page. You have a scan button, or you could have what they call libraries: expense report, contracts, invoice, medical claims. Most people would work straight out of the medical claims, and they would work straight out of the library that they're working in, or you could actually start from the scanner. I'm actually going to go to the medical claims part to show you how this would look like in a real environment. So what you have here is the whole library. If I would go to the to scan a document, I need to push a button here. This button, Scan Document, is a button that we have added. The moment I press this button, what will happen is, and I will do that now, what will happen is there is a URL behind that will go up to the Azure cloud that will pull an interface to the local host. Now, what this does is several things. This will not only pull the interface that you see here, and this can be many interfaces, because you can have an insurance company that want their own logo in here, but you could actually have the brokers or the customers of the insurance company that will use this. So we could actually have all these different types of interfaces sitting in here. So we pull the interface from the cloud, from Azure, to the local machine. What we do next is we install a folder where we can put the documents into. We look for any Twain device that is installed on the machine. And thirdly, we will make the connection with the backend system. So basically, we'll connect to, in this case, it's an Office 365, but it can be an FTP, it can be your own application. It doesn't really matter. Yeah. If you run it the first time, you will need to click on an exe file, which is about an 8 megabyte download. And we kept it on purpose very short, goes very fast. The reason we do that is that there is no browser that is allowed simply to access your local machine. Second thing I need to tell also, which is very important, is that the moment I start scanning, the documents will go straight from the local machine into the application. So there is no movement of documents over the cloud, which is very important for records management, that there is absolutely a straight point-to-point connection. So what you see here, you have a logo, you have a scan button, you have a scanner. In this case, I have a Canon scanner in my home office, and I have scanner settings, which are simplified scanner settings. You can change all of these actually, because in real life environments, you're going to keep it as simple as possible, which is most of the time just a scan button and a stop button. So we've also added you see that this whole screen is empty. So if I click on the document, you get more functionality as we go along. You can see that there are several documents sitting in here. You can move them around. You can, if you right click, you can insert documents. You can append documents. We can do separation, automatic separation based on patch codes, barcodes, all of that. Here you see some functions: email, generate and download, print, delete. It depends what you want to do. And of course, like I said, you can actually remove them. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to put this document into our medical claims part. This is only for SharePoint. What I do now, I have to have a double login basically. So what I do now with that is that I pull in the whole taxonomy out of the online SharePoint, and I'll show you an example. So if I would go to contracts, I would have 3 indexes to fill in. If I would go to medical claims, which is the case I want to show you, I only have 2. You see, it says pay 2. You have 2 options: medical institute, private person, and IBAN number is here. So if I type in a number, I have to, of course, select the document, and if I press upload, the document will be uploaded straight into the right location. Upload successful. You see this is green. We've also made a red version where it says upload is not successful. So if I go back to my medical claims, what I need to do is I need to refresh the library, and what you will see is that the document is immediately added here. Second option, which is very powerful, is if I have, in the case of the medical insurance, I would have 4 million users. What I want to do is maybe one day I want to add an extra metadata. So if you have to do that with a traditional solution, it will take you several days to do that. On top of that, it will take you a while to roll that out. So I will do this live. I go to the Office 365, I go to my library settings, and when I go to one of those content types, I will add an extra field. I'm doing this right, live now. I say OK. So if I go back to my scan client and I will log in again, so I will refresh basically, and I will go back, pull in the taxonomy, you will see that we can pull that in immediately. Okay. So what you see is that we've added an extra field. That means if you have 4 million people on this, that we basically can update the 4 million people within a few seconds, which is rather unique, let's say like that. So this is one example of an interface. Another example would be the following. This is an insurance company called Safehouse. What they wanted to do is they have 2 ways of doing this. So basically, if you have an accident, you need to fill in a document. So if you go to this, they have this document which you need to fill in, and then you need to sign. So you have to get that document into their system. They have 2 ways. They have an electronic form where you can fill it in, or you really fill it in, sign it, print it out, and scan it in. You can then press the button. I'm going to close the previous one. I can press the button scan, and what you then get is a different scan client, which has been optimized for the Safehouse insurance company. And what you see here is that you have a scan button, you have still My Scanner, and you can upload. And here you only have 3 document types. So I have car insurance, house insurance, and I would have travel insurance with 2 fields. So we kept that very, very, very clean. So the question is here, how do you actually manage this? How do you actually administer that? Is that hard to set it up? Well, it's not. So they have CumulusPro has a administration part, and I will log in now, admin.com, and fill in the password. And this is where you set this up. So what happens is that you get into the admin panel. You can create a new customer while clicking here. And then you see that we have several customers in here, and then you will set all of the client up. To give you some examples, you can change the actions. So if I take the Safehouse insurance example, this would mean that you have the buttons, which I will show where they are sitting. These are those buttons here. You can completely say enable them, hide them, disable them. You can decide what you want to do. Second thing you can do is, for instance, let me show you the Safehouse insurance. You can change the logo, you can change the lookout, the way it looks. For instance, here there is no logo, so you can click choose file and add the logo. And for me, one of the more important things is you can control the full scanner settings. So if I go to the Safehouse insurance and I'll give you profile 1, what you see here is that we've pushed the scanner settings. Everybody, when they push the button scan, they will be scanning at 300 dpi in A4. Classically, what you would do in this case here, you see that we would always try to scan dual page and we would delete the blank page. You have imprinter options, output options, compression options, all the classics are available. Also, For the Office 365 environment, we did a full integration where if you change something like I showed in Office 365, one of the metadata or index fields, it is pushed automatically to the client. A lot of people don't have that. They have like an FTP site. Well, I'll show you how that would look like. So if I go to Safehouse Insurance, which has an FTP site, then you see here output format. We decided to put it in PDF. The metadata is in XML. All the destination information is there. But what we're missing is how to define the metadata. So if I would say, for instance, for the car insurance, well, I would have date and IBAN number. And this is where you change it. So if you change things here or you add files, then automatically the scanned client would be updated within a few seconds. So you either do it with a full integration or you would do this based on the admin panel. Last but not least, of course, you have user management. You see here some test users, and you would also have reporting, which is not enabled here, where the reporting would give you how many documents have been scanned per site. And you very quickly see that if there are errors, that something is wrong either with the users or there's something wrong with the scanners itself, that they need somebody needs to fix them actually. To go back and to show you how it actually really technically works, I have an overview here. In this case, we have the Office 365 environment. So the moment you add a scanner, you click on Office 365. What we will do is behind the button is a URL. We will go to Windows Azure and pull the data back, the interface back. So in this case, you could do a login. We'll go to Office 365. We request a login. We are the user. You will log in, and then of course you have access granted, and then we set up the secure connection. We are authenticated. The scan interface gets pulled down, and you can start scanning. Once you have scanned, you fill in the metadata. So we have the metadata coming, and the next thing that happens is that we upload it directly into Office 365 in this case. So technology is based on 4 stacks. You have base is Microsoft Azure, then you have your CumulusPro local host. On top of that, you have what we call an advanced file connector that basically connects to your FTP, Office 365 line of business. Even if you, for instance, have a workflow, in step 3 of the workflow, you have scan document. Classic would be expenses. You could click the button, we could scan, and then in step 8, somebody would need to print it out, sign it again, scan it again. While all of that is perfectly possible. Another example that we get a lot is HR files, where you would have HR files that need to be scanned and they need to be filled in directly into a records management system. Another example I wanted to touch briefly on is a accounting service bureau. This is a project we've done. This was a company that had that provided accounting services, and they have 70 locations in the Netherlands actually, where they would scan 20,000 pages a week. What they did before was they delivered 70 scanners to those locations, and all of those scanners would actually scan into a dedicated folder on an FTP site, and then from that folder they would do the processing, meaning they would read all the fields in the invoices. Big problem was that all of these people started scanning on different settings, and the company had to send around service engineers to go fix the settings. Now, 70 locations, that takes you a few days to get around, and that would take a lot of time and a lot of cost to actually do that. What they done now, they have a portal. You would go to the portal, you would log in, so they would know who of these 70 locations would log in. You start scanning, and automatically all the documents are routed to the right folder and then treated for the for processing. Next one is the workflow, which I basically explained, where you would at a certain step have a workflow integration. So to wrap up, and I promise you to keep this brief and simple, we're 20 minutes away. So when would you use it actually? So, well, you would use it to really reach out to very, very decentralized environments. So we would call that embedded capture into any line of business application, DMS or portal, mainly aimed at people that have never scanned documents before. There is nothing to install. because this is all sitting in Azure. So you basically go to a portal or to the line of business, you would click on scan, you would have a little file that comes to accept the download, and basically you're up and scanning. You can control from that your full input quality, and of course, since this is cloud, this is a fully 100% transactional model. That means that in our license model, we do not count how many users you have. We do not count how many clients you have. We don't care, actually. We only care about the transaction. So also we've seen that a lot of companies came to us and said, well, I have a project of about 3 months or 5 months, and I don't really know when it stops, but it's going to be somewhere between 4 to 6 months. I just want to pay for that amount. Well, since this is a cloud model, you can basically start the license, and you can also stop it when you don't need it. Having said that, I would want to thank all of you for your time today, and I hope you enjoyed it, and feel free to contact us if you want to use this great application. Thank you. Thank you a lot.